You can probably tell from the title of this video and the image I've popped on the screen that this is all about how I built my abs and got them stage ready. Later on, I will go through a more in-depth details about ab training, how I structure my workouts. So the beginning will be a lot of form tips, starting off with cable crunches. So we did 2 sets of 10 to 12 reps on this one. They are a great way to get that weighted ab exercise in. You can see that I'm getting a nice stretch at the top, keeping my hips locked in place, and then crunching as much as possible just to fully engage the abs. So next up we have oblique crunches. I do, again, 2 sets of these, but I aim for 15 to 20 reps. I will explain a bit later on in the video why I don't really use any weight on these, but I've always found these a great way to make sure that my obliques are getting some work, but it's not too much to make my physique blocky. Obviously, I don't want to be adding muscle to the side of my waist and making it blocky. So yeah, 2 angles of this, obviously just getting as low as physically possible on the bench, and then crunching up and squeezing at the top. It does give you a great burn once you hit the 15 to 20 rep range. So last up, I had 2 sets of 10 to 15 reps on ab rollouts. These are probably my favourite thing to do for abs. I train them right at the end of the workout just so my abs are even more fatigued. You can see from here that I'm getting a fully stretched position and holding it for as long as it's comfortable. I'll explain a bit more about like progressively overloading these later in the video, but yeah, nice and controlled. You don't want to rush these, and obviously the more you do them, the longer you'll be able to hold in that stretched position. And that completed the workout. I'm just on my way back from the gym. I thought I'd do this bit outside because it's nice and sunny, as you can see. There's a heat wave on the way, which is always good. This video is obviously titled how I built my abs and what I did to get them into the condition they were for my men's physique competitions. Essentially, when I was younger, I used to train them a hell of a lot. I feel like everyone went through a phase of training chest, biceps and abs. The gym I trained at was proper old school, and they had about a 50-year-old ab machine in there that just gave you a ridiculous pump and ab cramp at the time. But yeah, it was fun to train, and then I think I sort of grew out of that phase and just relied on them sort of getting secondary work through like my compound lifts. They look good, but they didn't turn into a strong point. And about a year and a half before my competitions, I thought I'm going to lock in on them, turn them into a strong point ready for these shows. And actually, when I got backstage, a lot of people were approaching me saying like how I got them to that point of what I was training. My conditioning did help, but I feel like the year and a half of training I put into them got them to that level where they were probably my strongest body part on stage. So I do 2 sessions a week, which is post one of my workouts. They've both got a weighted aspect and then a body weight aspect in them. You see a lot of these suggestions online to do like circuits or train your abs every single day. You want to train them like every other muscle. So you wouldn't train your chest every day. Obviously you're tearing the muscle down, it's got no chance to recover, and it's just not going to get you anywhere. So it's the same with abs. If you're doing a weighted, like a cable crunch, you're obviously tearing the muscles down. You need to give it time to recover and grow, which is why I just train them twice a week. The circuit, or the workout, sorry, that I've shared today obviously shows that. So I'm started off with weighted crunches, which is something that I can progressively overload using weight. It's nice and simple with that. Obviously just make sure your form is spot on. Secondary, I moved on to obliques, which was a decline crunch. For obliques, obviously for myself, I would never really add weight to them, just because for men's physique you want to have the thinnest waist as possible. So if I'm adding weight, I'm going to get a blocky physique, which is going to impact me in terms of the judges. And I think overall, if you're looking for that like beachy look, or you want your abs to pop with your obliques, it is good to have muscle there, but not so it's giving you that blocky look. Everyone wants that thin waist into like the wide lats and shoulders. And then I just finished off with ab rollouts, which if there was one thing that I'd probably say everyone should do, it's those. they were something that I added in, and it gives a ridiculous stretch on your abs, and you can progressively overload them through like time and attention, especially when you're fully stretched out. Obviously just spend a bit longer in that position and it'll really hit your abs. You don't have to progress in terms of weight for everything, obviously you can't with that. But yeah, I did feel like that made my abs pop, and I've sort of stuck to that. You don't, like I said, you don't need to be doing these crazy 20-minute, half-hour circuits 5 times a week, because it's not going to work. It's wasting your time, and you're essentially just adding extra cardio in. But yeah, that's how I got to where I have. I definitely recommend giving this routine a try and working it into your workouts. For anyone that does compete, is just to remember the off season is probably the most important time to grow your abs. There's no point waiting until you're 12 weeks out and try and catch up on lost training. Obviously, if you're building them throughout your off season, when you cut down, they're going to look incredible. You've got the muscle there. Obviously, you're losing the weight, and they're just going to show even more. So yeah, definitely that's what I did myself. I'd recommend it, and it does work. So yeah, that's pretty much my ab routine. I'll post the other ab workout I'll do at some point. But yeah, give this one a go, and I'll catch you in the next video.